It's always a party at Patchworks. Let's get this party started. Woot, woot. Hi, everyone. This is Julie from Patchworks, and I am so excited that you're joining us for another episode of Must Sew Thursday. Today, we are featuring Block 4 and 5 of My Favorite Color is Moda. That's this book right here. So we are in the middle of this sampler, and we have a few different colorways available to you. If you wanted to still jump in, you can catch up along the way. We also have some people who are just making the blocks from this book in any fabric that they choose. Today we have a really exciting lesson that was shared on the Moda Fabrics blog, and I'll link to that as well below so that you can print out a copy of this. So on the first Tuesday of every month, Moda Fabrics releases their blocks of the month, which we play along with in our post here. And today they're talking about contrast of fabrics. So you can see blocks 4 and 5 are essentially the same block. It's a bunch of half square triangles. Block 1 was half square triangles. These are a little bit smaller half square triangles. So we've mastered how to make the half square triangles. And now we're going to talk about what makes the blocks different. And sometimes by mixing your fabrics in certain ways gives blocks a very different look. So what do I mean by contrast? So you can see here in our blocks, this particular colorway is the Primrose Garden, which is the same used on this cover photo. Let's take a peek at the photo that Moda shared, and that is of the Tropical Getaway of blocks 4 and 5. So you can see that the top block is the higher contrast block, and the bottom block is the lower contrast block. Do you see that? Okay, so let's look at, if we look at fabrics individually, what that might look like. So here I have a picture of a high contrast and low contrast combination. You can tell the difference between the cream and the pink, which would be high contrast, and the blue and the green, which is low contrast. In a picture like this, it is fairly simple to see the difference in contrast, but let's say you're pulling some fabric and you're not quite sure how to tell. So sometimes you've heard about squinting your eyes, sometimes you've heard about putting a red plastic glasses on or green glasses. Today we carry something super simple which can help us out. So here I have a picture for you that is a fabric combination with a black and white filter added to it. So you can see on the left side that we have a beautiful grunge combination of creams, reds, and blues, and then a black and white filter applied to it. So you can see the contrast and how similar those reds and blues look to each other. Okay, so that's a lot of theory. Let's talk about things in real life. How does that sound? Okay, so in real life, we're working with our fabrics, and in this case, we are going to be working with the fabrics that we're using in our blocks 4 and 5, okay? And we'll talk about the different contrasts. I like this little tool, and let me just grab it. And that is the tool that I have in my pocket every single day, right? My phone. So this phone is super powerful, and on the camera that you have, you can apply a filter to it so that you can see things in black and white. I'm going to pull the fabrics here for block 4. So block 4, let's look overhead. We used fabrics 2, 3, 5, and 7, okay? So I am going to arrange them so where we have 2, 3, and 7, And then all of them are paired with the cream for the other half of that half square triangle. When I'm using a camera, and let's see if I can take a picture here. So when I have my camera, can you see this without it being too much of a glare here? Okay, so I just have my regular camera out, and if I click on my phone here, up in the upper right, I have the ability to change the filter. So I could make it look different, but what I'm interested in is this black and white. So you can either take a picture if you want to look at it later, or you can just use this as you're looking through the fabric at the store or in your stash. So you can see the high contrast between each of these. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so this would be our high contrast block, which is block number 4. Now, let's take a peek at the fabrics for block number 5. So the same block, and instead we're going to be using 2, 3, 9, and 10. So remember we were talking about to stay organized, I like to mark my fabrics in the corner here so that I know at all times which fabrics are which. So now let's see. So with this particular one, we have them all mixed together, and you have the 2 greens together, and then you have the green with the pinks. Okay, so let's look at it like that. So let's check out the phone first in the original color, okay? How does that look? Can you see that? Kind of? Okay, now what we're going to do, and maybe we'll zoom in here, and maybe I could even zoom in. Ooh, how about the zoom? Does that help a little bit? Not really? Okay. Frank's giving us the meh. So I flipped over and I did the black and white, which is called noir. And you can see here that there's much less contrast in between these and fairly little contrast there. Okay, so let's look at the blocks behind me. So you can see, so from far away here, which you're looking at it, you can see that this fuchsia really sticks out, but it's a little bit lower contrast here or here. But every single combination here does have that high contrast. Looking at the different Moda colorways, we have 3 groupings which are high contrast. And the 3 that are high contrast with the one that they've given us are the Cookie Tin, Coastal Cool, and Trading Post. And then we have 2 lighter contrast and medium contrast options that were part of the original Bella Solid combinations. So the lighter contrast combinations are the Primrose Garden, which is the one that we're using, the Pink Lemonade, and then the medium contrast is the Tropical Getaway, which we showed you those 2 blocks early on. So hopefully that was a little bit of a interesting introduction into value or contrast. We hope to teach you a little bit of all sorts of different things every single session that we meet with you, in addition to just making great blocks. So let's talk just a little bit about the construction of these blocks. Very simple, as we're simply making half square triangles here. And the really nice thing about this block is that they're all the same size. So we're going to start by cutting squares and pairing the squares together, sewing them. I love to mark with my quick quarter rulers, and in this case I did prefer to use my larger size because It just was easier to handle with the large squares that we started with. I went ahead and I marked all of my lighter squares because you are going to have 8 of the light green and 8 of the cream that you pair up to the different fabrics. So I went ahead and I just marked all of the light squares with my quick quarter ruler, and then I paired them up, sat down at my sewing machine, and I chain sewed them all together. So it was really quick and efficient. After I had them stitched, I cut them apart and pressed them, and then came the tedious part where I got to square them up. So squaring them up, make sure that they're super, super perfect. And after they were squared up, we pieced them into 4 patches. So what is nice here is that in the different combinations, you really only have 2 units. This is actually the same unit, and then you have this unit here, which is the same. So I go ahead and line up my squares and sew together my 4 patches and then put my 4 patches together. And would do a similar job over here. Half square triangles can give you very interesting different shapes. In block 1, we started with the hourglass in the center, and then these squares were positioned so that it looked like a square in a square, radiating out. And in this case, we're positioning the fabric so that it looks like a pinwheel. So there's all sorts of really amazing things that you can do with half square triangles. They are not that hard to make, and once you start practicing and making a few, you can be less intimidated and make some really fun shapes. From other things that we have going on here, I wanted to share with you some really amazing show and tell that we have. So we have been, if you haven't been paying attention to our other videos, we have a really great Facebook community called Patchwork Party, where we ask all of our different club members to share inspiration and photos from their show and tell. If you haven't joined, make sure to click to sign up on Patchwork Party, available from our page, and I'll also include a link below. Let's take a peek at some of the show and tell that I have for you. I'm going to hop over by Frank so that I can narrate along. How does that sound? Okay. So first up, we have my favorite color is Moda Show and Tell from Linda. And Linda is choosing her own fabric combination. She is working with some beautiful purple batiks. Oh, look at those. They're so yummy. Great job, Linda, and continue healing. I know you are recovering from surgery, so keep on recovering. Next up, we have Lisa, and Lisa is working with one of the Moda colorways, and this is Cookie Tin. You can see the high contrast between the reds and the greens and the little bit of aqua. I just love this combination. Very pretty, well executed blocks. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing. Jody is choosing her own adventure. She is using Betsy Chichin's fabric here, and I love how this is coming together. So you can see how using prints works really, really well. In this particular case, she's using all of Betsy's fabric. Now, she would be able to incorporate other traditional Modas. What I do love about a lot of the different designer fabrics from Moda Fabrics is that I always say Moda goes with Moda. So that is really cool how these are working together. I'm super excited to see how this particular scrap quilt is going to come together. Next, we have another Moda colorway, which is Pink Lemonade. I just don't have enough time to sew in the day. And so it's so inspirational to be able to see how these different kits are coming. Next up, we have Denise, and Denise is choosing her own color combination. She's doing a combination of neutrals, so cream, black, and gray, and then a pop of blue here. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to come together, if there are different pops of color, or if it is all going to be accented with blue. Hoo-hoo, I'm sitting tight waiting to see, Denise. Laura was inspired by block 1, and she has modified it a little bit, and she's using this for a charity quilt pattern. So I'm showing it to you sideways here, and so she added an extra row. In this way you can see it one on each side, and that's turning that block into a rectangle. She's just quilting it up, and it is a great little size for a quick and easy charity quilt project. Next up, we have Bobby, and Bobby put together this grunge combination. I have the pictures layered on top of each other, and so I love how this is coming together. And finally, we have blocks 1, 2, and 3 from Amanda, who is using the Coastal Cool colorway. Everyone is doing such a great job. I love, love, love how it's coming together. Make sure to share your show and tell, especially things that go along with my favorite color is Moda or any other of our Must Sew TV presentations. I know I've been super quick today, a little bit light on content. I just wanted to share with you a couple really fun things. So I'm super excited. Tomorrow morning we are going to be doing a trunk show. We got some beautiful quilts from Jaybird Quilts, and so I cannot wait to show you all of those, which is really fun. And we are getting some fabric this week to fill in our color wall, which is really exciting. I've been seeing a lot of the different fabric reps, as well as getting some either virtually or in person to be able to select things for farther out into the future, getting all sorts of really exciting, inspiring things, seeing great patterns. We had our virtual quilt market where I was able to visit with some of the people that I would have otherwise seen in person at our twice-a-year exhibition. So it's just great how we've all adapted to be able to continue to keep in contact and keep quilting and keep inspiring each other so that we can all inspire you. We have a fun prize today for you, and so for the people who have submitted their show and tell, so you have from today through our next presentation of My Favorite Color is Moda to make sure you get your blocks in. And today we have a quick and easy block tool, which is 110 quilt blocks in 5 sizes with project ideas. So in keeping with our sampler theme, we thought we would include this reference book here. And Frank, I'll have you show overhead this great book. So it is a spiral bound book, and just all sorts of sizes here, showing you how to cut, lay out, showing you different ideas for how you could put these together. So we have that for one lucky person. So let's see who our lucky person is today. And Bobby, congratulations. You will receive this great block tool. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know we were super quick. Tune in tomorrow for our trunk show, and we'll see you soon. Happy quilting.